All right, it looks like I am getting word that the run is ready to go, so Jaxler, you can take it away.
We're going to be doing 100% today. If you've never seen this game before, this is a 3D action adventure that was made by Dynamics, same people who made the Tomb Raider games, actually. This is a 3D action adventure game, so I like to jokingly call it like dark gothic fantasy Zelda, which is going to make some people upset. But yeah, this is the 100% run. We're doing this on the original release of the game as well. There was a remaster that came out for this game almost about a year ago now. And I just prefer running on the original version because there's a lot of cool strats that you don't get to see otherwise. But without further ado, I think we are good to go. So I'm going to start counting on 3 and we'll start the timer on go. 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, welcome to Soul Reaver, everybody. So, started the game. This is Raziel. He just got sent to the underworld. He used to be a vampire, but then he grew wings, and this guy named Kain was like, hey, that's cringe, so I'm gonna throw you into the underworld. And now we're this, like, Soul Reaver thing that can kind of shift between the physical world and, like, this underworld spectral realm. And we're really not happy about that. So we are going to go on a giant quest for revenge and just beat up a ton of people. So while we're in cutscene mode here, to briefly explain what 100% means for this game, it means getting all upgrades as well as all of these like warp gates that are used as fast travel points. Specifically, those upgrades include like your pieces of heart equivalent if this were a Zelda game, something called Eldritch Energy upgrades, which increase your magic capacity, every magical spell in the game, as well as defeating every boss and getting a couple of other miscellaneous upgrades along the way, such as the Fire Reaver. So we got a lot that we need to grab, and we've got only about 2 hours to do it. So this is a really, really, really broken run. This is a very glitch-heavy run, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up throughout this. And I don't get the opportunity to show off 100% very often. I kind of mentioned it as well during the interview. This is one of my favorite categories in speedrunning, point-blank period. And I can't wait. Yeah. So going out of this intro cutscene here, kind of just describing to Raziel what I just described to you about the lore. The lore is going to get kind of broken pretty quickly by the glitches that we're going to be doing. So first thing you're going to notice at the start of the run, I am jumping. Airborne movement at the start of the game is going to be a lot faster than our grounded walk speed. And interestingly enough, we actually lost analog like precision when going from the PS1 and Dreamcast versions of this game to the PC port. And so because of that, you have 2 specific buttons that you use to turn the camera pan left and pan right. And then also 8 directional movement. So I'm actually dual wielding with both hands on my keyboard here. Left hand kind of controlling WSAD and using my right middle and index finger to control the camera. And that sounds really bizarre, and it kind of is. But we kind of are going to be able to make use of the fact that the camera works this way to be the foundation for a lot of the glitches that we're going to see. So right here, this is kind of like the tutorial section where we get introduced to the game's basic mechanics, because they are a bit different from a lot of other action adventures. In order to sustain ourselves as a Soul Reaver, we need to eat souls. And so whenever we're in the spectral realm, we need to get ourselves up to like full health before we can eventually transition back into the physical world. And so at the start here, I gotta fill myself back up at the fuel depot here. So I'm gonna be standing right in the center of the well here in order to basically prevent the soul orbs from even like spawning, so that I pick them up a little bit faster. And then we're gonna see our first glitch of the run, which is called a double crouch jump. So you're normally not supposed to be able to double jump in this game, and I just did 2 high jumps in a row. So essentially what I did is I held down crouch and both of like the turn left, turn right buttons for the camera. If I then pull up tab, which is the spell select menu, it will essentially allow me to walk around in like a first-person camera controller mode. And so by doing that, if we then let go of those camera buttons, we can essentially break ourselves out of whatever animation we're doing. It allows us to animation cancel. And of course the Slua is being really rude to me right now, so we're gonna have to wait for him to be nice to me here. So this is kind of our intro to combat a little bit. So we're gonna feed on these guys. Wait for this last guy to... Did I not kill him? Hello? Where is he? Oh, he got back to life. Oh, that's really annoying. Wow, this is... So, these guys are a little random. That is maybe the worst slew-out pattern I have ever gotten in my entire life, but you know what? It's just marathon luck, right? So we're going to suck those guys up so that we can get through this next cutscene bit, and then the game's going to kind of tell us a little bit about, like, transitioning between the material and spectral realms. This is also another animation. The realm shifting animation can also be canceled out of with this breakout glitch. But we're not going to do it in every case. For one, there's a cutscene that's going to play right after this one, but also there's a weird property with it where after you break out of the plane shift animation, it kind of creates this weird ring that will kind of impair your movement a little bit. So sometimes it's not super helpful to actually break out of that animation. So now you're going to see kind of the whole world transform and things actually, you know, look like a 2009 like military shooter game with all the grays and the browns. That means we're in the material realm. And so this will cause geometry to change, and we have different properties between the material and spectral realm, which we'll get a bit more into later when we talk about some of the glitches. So coming up, we have a bit of a strange sequence. We're going to be doing a breakout glitch to animation cancel a door open animation, which just allows me to walk right through it as it's opening. And then after that, I'm going to be doing a kind of a weird sequence in order to instant kill some enemies and overlay two cutscenes at the same time. So crossing over the water because water damages us, and then we're going to see this breakout glitch. Run right through the door. I'm going to take this wide. This is going to put me into this cutscene just a little bit earlier and skip the door opening animation where we don't normally have control over Raziel. Alright, so this is going to go by really fast, so I'm going to explain it in advance. I'm going to be doing a breakout double crouch jump to get over a cutscene trigger, which will hopefully prevent these enemies from aggroing me. And then I'm going to do some block manipulation and with a block in the corner over there. So there's a double crouch jump. We get up and over that cutscene trigger. Then I'm going to crouch next to the block and pick it up. I'm actually delaying a tutorial cutscene with moving pushable and pullable blocks. And then I'm going to do the breakout glitch. And then break out of the pushing animation. This is going to kill these two vampires and trigger the block tutorial cutscene at the same time. And then now that the vampires are dead, that's going to play another cutscene. So I'm essentially stacking two cutscenes at the same time, granting me movement during it, allowing me to push the block during the cutscene and just get through there a little bit faster. And then here's our first like really big break of the run. This is called time stop. So what I'm doing right there is putting myself between two loading zones so that I might not even have time to explain this. Hold on, I might need a second a little bit. But we've just frozen time. That's what you need to know. And I unfroze time next to a block. So the game thinks I'm standing next to a block right now. And because of that, if I press the attack button, it will try to trigger the push-pull animation on that block. But we unloaded it, so it just warps us out of bounds and through that door. And so by doing that and having this weird glitch state active, it actually skips a 2-minute long cutscene. And so one of the biggest differences between running this version of the game as opposed to the remaster is we can't actually press a button to skip any of the cutscenes. And so because of that, we have to come up with these really weird and interesting ways to skip them. So this is going to be our first warp gate of the run. We're going to be using it a lot later on. These are fast travel points. We got one in the Abyss at the very start of the run, and then this is what we call the Abyss warp gate. So our next major goal right now is to make our way towards the first impended boss of a casual playthrough, Melkaya. But there's also another key upgrade we're going to want before doing that. Right here, there's a cutscene that's supposed to play. I'm going to do a bit of a newer strat in order to skip around it with a just a double regular jump out of breakout. You can actually just crouch jump over that cutscene trigger. It's really easy, but that method I did right there saves a little bit of time. And then we're going to do another breakout on the door to skip that opening animation, throwing us into this combat encounter. Now, I don't want to fight enemies. It's really slow to kill enemies unless you have the Soul Reaver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crouch to get myself on this edge, and then we're going to set up the breakout glitch. And then hopefully double crouch jump. I need a lot of height here, and this one's pretty tricky. So give me just 1 second here. That should be good. This is going to get us up and out of bounds, and then we can land on this loading trigger and get back in bounds and activate this cutscene. Nice. We'll take second try there. That one's pretty tricky. So, with out of bounds in this game, the way the game's levels are loaded is they're loaded in sequence. So there are these individual, like, loading triggers that you need to cross over in order to get the next area to load in properly. You kind of saw the world disappear from me a bit there, right? And so we need to make sure that we hit these in order so that we can actually go where we want to go. Otherwise, it'll just turn into void, and there's like no void out system in this game, so we're going to go ahead and do a door glitch through that one as well. With the metal grate doors, they will actually just let you phase right through immediately. The hitbox of the door just completely disappears. And we're going to flip this switch just like that, doing another double crouch jump as a shortcut. And so now we're going to be in a moment here doing another quick transformation into the spectral realm on purpose. There will be a cutscene that's supposed to play when we're here in the material realm. But if we're in the spectral realm while we do this, we won't trigger it. And then we're going to do a little bit of an out-of-bounds climb here with the breakout glitch. Just like that. And then we can hover right over this wall, bypassing that cutscene. And then while we're still in the spectral realm, we're going to go up here and attempt to jump over another cutscene. Nice. Retransform into the material realm so that we can go through a couple more doors in a second here. One more quick one right here. And so we're kind of coming up on like Melchiah's like domain, if you will. You can kind of consider like the 4 vampire brothers of Raziel, different like Zelda dungeons and Zelda bosses. And so we need to take care of all of them for 100%, right? But there's one thing we want to grab before we do that. So we're going to go ahead and do another breakout glitch right here. And then we're going to do a double crouch jump, which is essentially going to be the equivalent of like skipping half the dungeon. Going to transform back into the spectral realm. We're going to be falling into some water later, so by transforming manually, we skip the, for lack of a better term, drowning animation. And then right here, we're going to be taking a platforming shortcut with the breakout glitch. And then I'm going to get myself up and out of bounds here. We're going to an area called the Force Rune Shrine. And this is normally only accessible with the Metroidvania upgrade you get after defeating Melchiah. But by going out of bounds here, we can actually do this early. And this might seem really like bizarre and out of order, but we really want this upgrade. It's going to be the thing that propels us kind of into the insanity of what this run is known for. So there is a cutscene skip I am going to go for by pausing as soon as I grab the Force Glyph here. But while we're here, we're just kind of in cutscene mode. So, Caitlin, you've got a second here. If you have anything you'd like to plug, now would be a good time for like 1 or 2 quick ones.
I absolutely do. We have some donations that came in. We have a $30 donation from Clear Mind that says, "My favorite Neopet is the cow." So, chat, drop your favorite Neopet. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, go for it.
Amazing. We have a $50 donation from Sin Splitter that says, "Time to unlock the Soul Reaver 2 milestone and Pseudo Regalia Goatling incentive. More Completithon means time to raise funds for a fantastic cause." The good news, chat, is we already unlocked the Soul Reaver 2 milestone, so we are getting 2 speedruns for the price of 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much for meeting that, by the way. I was like really shocked waking up this morning and they were like, "Yeah, no, it's already met." And I'm like, "Oh, let's go chat." But we've gotten the Force Glyph now, and this is going to allow us to do a really cool thing called the Flight Glitch. And I'm not going to be able to explain it quite yet, because there's going to be too many inputs going on. But once we get into the next cutscene, I'll try to explain how this works. But I hope y'all like the zoomies, because we're about to go really fast. And so fast, in fact, that we can hopefully, the game will let me, there we go, get up and over here, through this wall. And so now we're essentially in the second half of this Zelda dungeon, for lack of a better term, and we're going to skip the rest of it with a pretty tough flight sequence here. I need height, Raz. Come on, guys. There we go. We're going to get up and over that invisible wall, and I'm going to turn around, drop a little bit, so I can eventually reach a tunnel. Hop out the side like that. We're trying to make sure this tunnel doesn't deload. Land on the other side just like that. Hit a trigger so that the rest of the map loads. And we just made it to the first boss just like that. Okay, so Flight Glitch. So that Force Glyph spell we got, essentially we can animation cancel it with the Breakout Glitch. And so that essentially stores the spell, and the game really, really wants to cast it. So if we take like a tiny little step forward and then press the Glyph Select menu again, he'll start playing the animation. If you then pull back down that Glyph Select menu, it'll leave Raziel in a state where all of his animations are sped up. His jump animation will happen faster, he'll literally drop like a rock, he'll fall faster. And so with that state active, if you do a crouch jump, glide, and then a couple other inputs, you can actually get Raziel's like hover animation to play in reverse speed, meaning that he goes up instead of down. And then with that height, we can then use that height to like fly around and do some other stuff. And there's a lot that like goes into the flight glitch, how to get it to operate and work, different use cases for it, different types of flight glitches. It's a very, very deep glitch. But unfortunately, I don't have time to get into all the depth right now because we've got our first boss fight coming up. So this is Melchiah. He is probably the, like, if everything goes right, this will look like the most, like, hopefully if I do this right, this will look boring and normal looking. But if not, he's going to be really rude and annoying. So I'm going to be attempting to do some AI manips to get him to move from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So I'm going to have to do a crouch jump to get over a hole in a wall. And I'm going to wait for just a split second here. And doing that little wait will hopefully manipulate Melchiah to be in the right spot. That'll work. Perfect. So that's our first hit right there. We're going to walk through the gate and then go straight through the middle to hopefully get him. And then sometimes he likes to wait a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and stand over here just to make sure he can still kind of see where I am. He's doing the long walk animation. That's totally fine. It's not really in my control. That first hit is really the one you want to try to manip. Once you get that first hit, it's really straightforward to control the rest of the fight from there. But we're going to do one more attack on the boss right here the exact same way. And then while we're waiting for this next cutscene, I try to get up and over this next bit right here, because you need to lure him into the center of the arena, and go ahead and hit that nice little lever right there, and that'll be the end of the fight. So we're going to be getting a pretty cool upgrade from this guy. You can see he's able to kind of like phase through these metal grates. And by defeating him and taking his soul, we'll be getting that and be able to do that within the Spectral Realm. So really important that we get this ability early on, because this ability gates access to a ton of different areas. So we get this out of the way, and we also get that Force Glyph so we can fly everywhere. And with those two upgrades alone, so much of the game world is open to us now. There's like almost no place we can't go right now. If I really wanted to, well, actually, I still need to get the Soul Reaver. But we could get towards the end of the game soon if we wanted to. So there goes Melchiah. A bit of a minor flashing lights warning. Pretty much anytime we get a boss ability or soul, it's going to create this like sort of like glowing effect, and as that hits Raziel, it kind of makes a bit of a flash. So here's that flashing lights warning, and I'll let you know when it's over. And we should be good. Alrighty. So we're going to grab that ability, and then I'm going to immediately do a save and quit to put us back where we started the game, so that we don't have to backtrack all the way back through the dungeon we just went through. And then we're going to actually go do something completely out of order. We're going to beat the second to last boss next. So, but Caitlin, while I'm doing that save and quit, if you have anything you'd like to plug, now would be a pretty good time.
Absolutely. We just opened a brand new incentive for the Kingdom Hearts 2 race. We have opened the optional Sephiroth fight. And I don't know about you, I am a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, and for purely selfish reasons, I love to see the Sephiroth fight. So make sure you select that when you're making your donation.
Yeah, absolutely. That
and we also have the voiceover bid war. Japanese is ahead by $5. So if you want to hear Phil screaming to get on the Hydra's back over and over and over again, make sure you get those donations in.
Alright, so now I'm trying to get the flight glitch here. Now we're heading up to Dumon next, and this is normally the fourth boss of like the 4 major ones that you're supposed to defeat. But we're going to fight him next, and that's because after this we're going to be taking on the first Kain fight, and then sequence break our way to Rahab. And there's a hurt piece that we really want, the constrict ability that we get from Duma. So we really want to get this boss out of the way early if possible. And on the way there, I'm going to grab a warp gate, and then we're going to, hopefully if I do this right, see the first example of a pretty new glitch in this game called Fly Stop. So normally that time stop glitch I did to freeze time is mutually exclusive with the flight glitch. But pretty recently I discovered a way to combine those states together, which allows us to essentially have the benefit of not triggering cutscenes while the flight glitch is active. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a flight glitch right here just to get past this enemy. And of course the flight movement, as you can already see, is just ridiculously fast. Then I'm going to do the first part of setting up the flight glitch, and then not take the step forward and trigger it. This is important. I'm then going to get myself up on this scene, so I can get time stop, and then I can take that step forward, tab and untab, and that gives me this fly stop state, where I can fly while in time stop. And so there's a big 2-minute long cutscene here that is supposed to be triggering right now. The game actually really wants to trigger it right now. So I have to be a little careful with how I do this. So we are going to go ahead. I probably, you know what? I'm not going to. Here we go. So we're going to cross this threshold and then tab and untab. This is actually going to unload a blast door right here. And then I'm going to cancel time stop. So we're in Duma's Zelda dungeon, essentially. And we just skipped a ton of puzzles that you're supposed to do to get to this room here. And so we're going to go ahead and blast open this furnace room. This is a requirement to defeat the Duma boss. And then we're going to afterwards prep it so that the flames are like the lighter is good and ready to go. So that way, when we lure the boss over here to defeat him with the righteous flames, it's already good to go. And that's just one less step that we have to do here. So pretty much immediately after this cutscene, I have to do another flight glitch. And so what it ends up being is, like, a lot of this run is, like, mastering the flight glitch and, like, knowing how to fly through a lot of these rooms. Unfortunately, I hit a ledge. And one of the things that can cancel your super speed / your flight glitch is actually doing certain animations. So the actual walk cycle is a really good example of that, where if you walk too long or if you crouch walk, sneak, that will actually cause you to lose your super speed glitch. So there's a big puzzle in this room to reach the top. Oops. Where you're supposed to shift between the spectral material realms in order to make certain platforms appear and disappear. But we can just fly right up it. That's going to be a pretty common theme, is there's going to be some kind of puzzle the game wants me to do, and I'm just not going to bother. And then right here, we're going to set up the speed glitch again so that we can just, like, drop like a rock, like I kind of mentioned earlier, and that lets us just fall right down here. And then we're skipping another really big puzzle segment by just flying over this gate and pushing this obelisk down. Alright, we're going to set up the speed glitch one more time just for a little bit of faster movement, and then I'm going to do the breakout glitch on this door, because there is a cutscene trigger that's right here after you walk through it, that does, like, this big kind of, like, intro to Duma's throne room, right? And weirdly enough, this is, like, maybe the only example I've seen of it. Okay, thanks, game. Where it's a one-sided cutscene trigger, so you can walk through it one way, but not the other. It's very strange. Alright, let me shut up for a second so I can actually accurately take these spikes out of Duma's body. And so, Duma, I'm going to be mostly quiet for. This is just going to look like he's chasing after me for the entire bit, but there's a lot that I'm keeping track of under the hood here. So, Duma wants to get close to me so that he can swipe at me. If he gets too close, he'll start slow walking, which I don't want, because that means it takes him longer to get to his destination, which is that incinerator room, right? But if he's too far away, then he'll do, like, the Doomfist ultimate and smack the ground, and that will stun me if I'm not airborne. And I don't want him to do that either, because that's also slow. So I have to do this really narrow, like, tiptoe between too close and too far so that he's running at full speed. But if I just book it at full speed, eventually I will outrun him. So It's gonna just look like a walking segment, but there's a lot of, like, especially taking him around corners is really tricky. So pretty much for this entire fight, I'm probably just gonna shut up, just because it takes a lot of concentration here. So here we go. Yeah, so see, he got a little too far away from me there. Okay, good. I have to be really careful there not to get too close to that door, otherwise I'll trigger that cutscene I skipped. And he can attack me during that cutscene, which is really bad. Yeah, so I'm being really safe with him here just because, in all bosses, normally you come here with the Soul Reaver already, which allows you to maintain full HP. So he can flatline me pretty quickly if I'm not careful. He's giving me a lot of slow walks today, but that's okay. And sometimes what can happen too, if you double tap one of the camera buttons, it'll flip back around. But I need to keep the camera in Raziel's face so I can... Yep, there's a attack. That's fine. As long as he doesn't hit me. Okay, once we're in the hallway, we're pretty good. This was a pretty slow Duma. He's being pretty rude right now. Yeah, you see how he, like, pauses a little bit every time he does, like, a walk stride or a run stride? That's why you have to be really careful. Oh, really, dude? Okay, there we go. And there we go. So that was maybe one of the slowest Duma fights I've ever had. But you know what? We got through there without dying, and that's the really important part. So this is going to give us the ability Constrict. Constrict allows us to essentially run around certain objects in a circle and rotate them. It allows us to be like, get rotated, idiot, pretty much. And that's going to be really only used for a couple of spots, but we haven't really been able to find any ways around, specifically one of them that we'll need for backtracking later, so it's really important that we take care of Duma as early as possible for the fastest route here. Another real quick flashing lights warning with this ability orb. I'll let you know when it's over. And we should be out of there. Awesome. So I'm going to be doing another flight segment. We're not done in here yet. We do need to get our first heart piece, actually. But while we're here, Caitlin, if you have anything you'd like to plug real quick, that would be a pretty solid time.
I do. Just a very quick update on the optional Sephiroth incentive that we have open. We need to raise $175 to be able to unlock that optional fight, which, of course, you want to unlock Sephiroth. He's the one-winged angel. Who wouldn't? Japanese is still in the lead by $5, and we have Japanese at 30 and English at 25, so get those donations in to decide what language we're going to be playing Kingdom Hearts 2 in.
Yeah, you do not want to miss that Sephiroth incentive. As someone who, like, low-key is, like, a super big fan of KH2 runs, that fight is not okay. I'll just put it that way. That fight is ridiculous, and you do not want to miss that. Yeah, so here's our first heart piece. It's similar to Twilight Princess, where you actually need 5 instead of 4 to get a new health upgrade. Funnily enough, this is generally, I believe, intended to be one of the last, like, heart pieces that you ever get in a playthrough. But we're just gonna get it now. Now we're gonna go ahead and take on the first Kain fight. So normally after defeating Melkaya, you're intended... The way the game's progression is supposed to work is that you do Melkaya, then you face off with Kain at the Pillars of Nosgoth. And then he's like, you suck, here, have a Soul Reaver. And then from there, you're supposed to head to an area to take on a boss called Zephon, then you do a boss called Rahab, and then you do Duma, right? So we're going to go ahead and do Kain now, but we're going to skip the Zephon step for right now, and just take on Rahab right after, and that's going to have really nice benefits for our routing later on. Take another step forward here to set up another flight glitch just as we get through this hallway. Whenever I have this super speed and open a door, it will actually maintain that super speed as I go through. So we're going to take flight here, and then I'm going to do a time stop right there in order to cancel out of the plane shift animation. For that one specifically, So remember earlier at the start of the run, I skipped a cutscene that was like 2 minutes long. It doesn't trigger in the Spectral Realm, so if I go through here in the Spectral Realm, it won't bother me at all. And then we want to stay in the Spectral Realm to skip a fight. So we're going to get up onto this ledge with a breakout glitch. Jump up over this wall. And then we need to fall through this door specifically to hit a loading trigger. Otherwise, we softlock and have to save and quit and reload. Would not be very good. And so this is where we need Melchiah's ability. So when we're in the Spectral Realm, we can actually just T-pose through these metal grates. And this ability alone just gives us access to a ton of different areas. So it's pretty much any run that isn't an any percent run just goes straight for it. Trying to... Okay. Can you let me open the door? Thank you. There we go. So here's our buddy Kain. He's pretty rude. So something very funny is going to happen during this cutscene. So, in casual play, after you defeat Kain, you meet this, like, spectral, ghostly woman who was once, like, a guardian of the pillars or what have you, and you can come back here later on in the game to get hints from her as to where to go next. And normally that isn't supposed to trigger until after you take care of this encounter. However, because we defeated Duma before coming here, there she is right there. The platform for receiving a hint is going to be active, and we walk into it during the cutscene. So now we're getting a hint from her, and then something very funny is going to happen.
To a parasitic swarm.
Damn you, Kain! You are not God! This act of genocide.
So I have full control during the cutscene. So we can just jump around, goof around. This is just complete and utter nonsense going on right here. We can go ahead and just, like, stunt on Kain over here. We can jump around. I love this glitch so much. And you only really get to see it in 100% because you have to fight Duma before Kain won. So there's some very, very silly things. He's intangible. It's in cutscene mode, obviously. So it's like, but yeah, you can, like, do this. You know, like, do you have games on your phone? Do you have games on your phone?
I would choose integrity, Kain.
Just run through the camera, you know. This can actually let me set up in position a little bit to do this boss fight that's going to come after here with Kain. So the Kain fights are actually probably the easiest of any of the boss fights in this game. All you need to do is smack him 3 times. And the way his AI works is he will always spawn kind of like opposite to where you are in the arena. So if you stand in the same spot every time he teleports, he's pretty much guaranteed to go to the same place every time, so you can just loop him infinitely. And it's pretty simple from there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that he doesn't completely destroy me here. But we should be
devouring the souls of its victims. For all our bravado, we knew what it meant.
I'm sorry, I just love messing around during this cutscene. It brings me so much joy. Alright, so as soon as we load in here, gonna flip the camera around. This is gonna spawn him in on this side of the arena. Poke. Immediately turn around. Poke. Poke. And just like that, the first Kain fight is taken care of. So this right here is probably the longest cutscene in the game. So I am literally just going to go ahead and get up and stretch my leg. Caitlin, if you want, the floor is yours for, like, I don't know, maybe like a minute and a half. I am not kidding. I'll actually just be right back to prove my point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, even though today is the very last day of Completithon, that does not mean we are not already preparing for future events. And since we've all been having so much fun these past couple days, you might be thinking to yourself, how do I get involved? Well, allow me to tell you. If you'd like to help with future events, we always host volunteer applications for our events. They typically run alongside submissions and are announced on our Discord and Twitter. Keep an eye on those if you're interested in running production, tweeting the tweets, or even hosting live on the mic, like me. Like I am right now. Yep. Even if you're just looking to volunteer for the first time, we would be happy to help you get your foot in the door. And maybe you'll be able to read words better than I can. And don't forget, we still have the target incentive to defeat Sephiroth still open. We need to raise $175. for that. And we still have the bid war for the voiceover language for Kingdom Hearts 2. Japanese is still in the lead with $30, and English is trailing shortly behind with $25. So all we need is another $5 to tie both Japanese and English.
What are you, little soul?
How are we holding up,
Another
Caitlin?
of Kain's creatures come to taunt the
We are
spawned
holding up.
spectre.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I did not intend.
So,
to
Caitlin, I guess
destroy
while we're
the
here, because remind me if I'm wrong, but I think this is your first time
Rest.
seeing this game, let alone some of the stuff that's going on. What are your thoughts? What's your gut reaction? How are you hanging on for dear life?
All I may do is
So this is actually giving me like a lot of Jack and Daxter vibes.
Okay.
conscious as this wretched
Yeah,
world
I kind of see what you mean. Just with the movement focus,
ghastly past.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like all the jumping and jump, hit, jump, hit.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's like,
Always here.
it's hard for me to describe in runtime, and I'll try to later on when it becomes relevant, but there's so many like little micro adjustments that you can do with this. That just make it, it's a big reason why I keep coming back to it. And it's also a reason why I'm playing on the original release and not the remaster that came out, is because that flight glitch doesn't really work on the remaster, unfortunately. Otherwise, I probably would just be running the remaster and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But, you know, it's like, this flight glitch is like one of my favorite speedrunning glitches ever. It's up there with like the ledge fly, which if you were here earlier and watched the Neopets run, you would have seen a bunch of ledge flying. But anywho, we've actually got a pretty tough segment coming up, and I'm going to, I should wait to say it actually, after I get the warp. We're going to be doing a couple of fly stops here, so I'm going to be going ahead and switching back to physical realm so I can fly. One thing I haven't noted as yet as well is, for the most part, you aren't able to do the flight glitch when you are in the spectral realm, because you need to be able to like do the spell cast, right? Hold on to that information for later. It'll become relevant, I promise. And so right here, I'm going to do a specific lineup on this wall. This one's pretty tricky. It's a little camera dependent. It's a position dependent. So whenever you see like that menu flicker, I need to press glyph select on that frame. So let's try this. This should work a bit better. There we go. And we're gonna activate fly stop. There is a giant, like 2-minute long cutscene that I am trying to avoid in front of the Seraphan tomb here. And so hopefully this will let me fly right past it. So we're in the cutscene trigger zone. We want to get through here, and this is one of the big reasons that this segment is really scary in 100%, is that you need to come through here and grab this warp gate, which doesn't sound like it does that much, but it increases the crash risk pretty significantly. So as soon as I get this warp gate, I'm going to save for safety. And then I'm going to set up fly stop once again to try to get back in and through that cutscene. And hopefully skip this entire area and get right to our next upgrade. Okay, we got the flight glitch. I need to do this fast. The faster you do it, the less likely it is that you're gonna crash. A little dicey. Okay, so we're gonna phase through that gate with the flight glitch. This is gonna skip a pretty large section. Please don't crash, please don't crash. Didn't crash, perfect. Alright, I need to get through this door, please, thank you. Alright, so that was the part where it could crash. And we're out of there, okay, thank God. Alright, so we have a mini-boss bit here with a pretty high-level enemy. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get the setup I needed to break out on that specific wooden door, so the enemy hit me. So I'm actually going to shift right back into Spectral Realm, heal up, and then start the mini-boss fight. Normally, you don't take a hit there, but I'm just happy the game didn't crash, so thank God. But this guy talks a lot of smack. But he has a very important ability for us called telekinesis, which does exactly what it sounds like. It lets us do telekinesis. It's a projectile attack that does a lot of damage, and it lets us solve a lot of puzzles. So it's really important, again, that we get some of these upgrades early, so that we're trying to avoid a lot of backtracking. And by getting a lot of these upgrades early, we're saving out on that backtracking. So we're gonna go ahead, rematerialize. He's gonna open with a projectile, most likely. I'm gonna try to bait out an attack. Oh, he got me still. Okay, so I still got him into critical health, so we're just gonna throw him into the water, and that should just kill him anyway. All right, we'll take that. Ideally, you can do that with the Soul Reaver stab animation, but I managed to back that up, so that was pretty nice. He's really good at just like destroying your health bar instantly. Flashing lights warning. I will let you know when it's over again, but this is us getting telekinesis here. I don't know why every time they give you something cool, they like make it so the screen flashes so you can't really see it. But it is what it be. Alright, we should be good now. And so this is going to allow us to shoot projectiles at range that can actually push blocks. So we're going to use it to open up this passageway here. And then I'm going to do an intentional shift into the spectral realm here in order to avoid the falling into water animation. I'm going to actually back up a little bit so I don't bonk on the ledge. Transform back to the material realm. That guy swings at thin air for some reason. I don't know why. He always does that. And then we're going to skip a pretty long material spectral shifting puzzle by just avoiding it. Going to break out of the spectral shift animation in order to start the animation for T-posing through the gate. And then through here, I have to really quickly get breakout. So I can get up and over here without those enemies hitting me, because they aggro me pretty fast. And then we're going to do a pretty cool trick that you only really get to see in this category called Spirit Airlines. So you'll see why it's named that in a moment. So normally I mentioned that you can't activate the flight glitch in the spectral realm. But if you do the first step of proccing the flight glitch, and then do the falling into water animation, it actually keeps the spell animation stored, so you can get the flight glitch in the spectral realm. This is going to be really important for this first Eldritch Energy upgrade. Hold on a second here, I need flight. Nice, that was pretty fast. That hitbox is tiny. All like the heart pieces and like Eldritch Energy upgrades, even some of the spells have really small hitboxes. So this Spirit Airlines trick literally saves like at least a minute or two, because you're supposed to get that with the boss ability from Rahab, the ability to swim. You're supposed to swim into that pickup. But by doing that, you just completely ignore it, which is really nice. Set up the flight glitch here, because this is a pretty long tunnel, and again, we need to get every warp gate in order to fulfill the requirements for 100%. And then coming up, I'm going to be doing another fly stop setup in order to skip an area overview cutscene for what's essentially Rahab's Zelda dungeon. I think it's the Drowned Abbey is the in-game name for it. I really should save before doing that. Just for marathon safety. So we're going to go ahead and fly here. Just enough to get over to this. We need to open this with the telekinesis, and then that'll hopefully stay open for us while I set up fly stop on this scene. This takes a little bit of maneuvering to get him in there. Okay, that one was first try, nice. Again, a lot of these fly stop, whenever I'm doing time stop, and that's why I safety saved. Okay, so that is a soft lock, so I'm going to have to reboot the game real quick. So if you fall into water and do that, like, drowning animation while you are in time stop, that is a soft lock. So we're going to go ahead and reboot the game, and we'll try that again. That's no big deal. Again, that's why you safety save, folks.
In the mountains beyond the pillars.
And then we're going to go for that again. Even though I missed it, it's still worth going for again, just because it saves so much time. And it's also cool. This category, like I said, is really, really hard, and has a ton of, like, crazy strats like that. So I want to be able to show you all, like, everything that we've got going on with this category. Like I said, this is one of my favorite, like, categories to speedrun in speedrunning. Like, agnostic of what game it is. So we're going to give this another shot. I got the hard part, which is funny, which is getting, like, the fly stop. The annoying part that I missed was that I couldn't get the flight glitch, and I fell into the water and didn't save it properly. So, it happens. So, if you'll allow me a moment just to focus on this one and not talk over myself so I can get this. I appreciate y'all, chat, for your patience while I try to line this up. Fun fact: this is actually the setup where Fly Stop was originally discovered. This was in me trying to find a way to skip this cutscene in Time Stop, I accidentally triggered Fly Stop. Okay, we got Time Stop. Fly Stop is active. There we go. So we fly up and over this zone, fly right over to this chain. Hit the tab menu and then pull the chain. This will actually cancel Time Stop for us. Something I didn't mention quite yet is that in order to cancel Time Stop, you actually have to do the inputs for the breakout glitch. That's the only way to get out of Time Stop, unless you use kind of one of these cool setups like this chain right here. So thankfully, once we like skip through that cutscene, it will no longer. I'm gonna go ahead and not have that stored. I meant to break out of this transform animation. I didn't really need to have that stored, so I didn't want anything potentially nasty to happen. We're gonna do a breakout glitch right here to skip a bunch of these pillars that we would need to platform over. This one requires a lot of height. There we go. Transform, and now we're gonna monologue with Rahab here. Rahab is going to grant us the ability to swim. His boss fight's actually pretty, like, probably the most straightforward out of all of them. Well, actually, no. Zephon's is also pretty easy, too. All I need to do is just use my telekinesis to break all these, like, circular windows, and then the light will shine on him, and then he'll be really upset, and then, like, go somewhere else. Don't worry about it. But, this fight's pretty straightforward. There will be another quick flashing lights as soon as the boss is defeated and, like, we get the upgrade. But, Caitlin, now would be probably a good moment to step in if you had anything you wanted to plug.
Rahab, you have adapted
Yeah, absolutely. As I said before, the Sephiroth incentive is still open. We need to collect $175 for that, and we still have the bid war for the voiceover language going. And let me tell you a little about what you're actually donating towards, which is the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. And while women make up nearly half of the gaming population, less than 24% of game developers in the US are women. Girls Make Games was created to address this gender gap and create a space for girls to explore the world of video games.
Do you know what we were before Kain spawned?
Yeah, please consider getting in your donations. I mentioned this a little bit in the interview I did with Shovel Claws, but like, especially with the games industry, like it's really hard, like, to find like solid educational resources. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to go to like school and learn that way. But not everyone like really has that privilege, and like self-teaching, like it's possible, but it's really tough, right? And it's not for everyone either. And plus, like, doing it alone is, as like someone who's been down that road even before going to school, it's pretty isolating, right? So like, just what Girls Make Games is able to provide is like so meaningful. And I'm so grateful that this is what we're raising money for this event. It means a lot to me as someone with a game development background. So please consider getting your donations in, not only so we can see that Sephiroth incentive, but also just because like it's gonna go a long way, for sure. All right, so quick flashing lights warning. Here comes that pickup, and then normally in like all bosses, this is where we would like save and quit and leave. But we actually have some more stuff we gotta go grab because 100%. So we essentially beat the entire dungeon, and then we go through it like haphazardly in order to grab all the extra stuff that we need. And so this is kind of where we get into what I would call the really, it's only the really big backtracking segment of the run, and that's not really doing it justice because we're going into like alternate areas that you normally couldn't access when we first went through there. You know, kind of like it is in like a Metroidvania or a Zelda game sort of thing. But we're going to be swimming now. And so something I'm going to be doing is kind of mashing crouch and jump. This allows me to cancel out of like the breaststroke kick animation just a little bit faster and swim a little bit faster. So it's something that exists in both this game and I think Soul River 2 to a lesser extent as well. Actually, it does. I run that game. Why wouldn't I know that? But Now the game is gonna be like, hey, you should go take care of Duma now. And like, we already did that. So we have a couple of things we need to grab here. There's going to be a heart piece upgrade that we can only get with the constrict upgrade that we got from defeating Duma. That's a big reason why it was so important that we took care of that as early as possible. There is a way to get it without it, but it is very slow. Well, it's not that slow. I did find like a time stop way to get around it, but it is very not worth doing. If that makes sense. Sorry, my brain went like total route mode there for a second. So we have to constrict around this valve, for lack of a better term, which is going to unflood the water, which allows us to pull up lock, which then gains us entry to the piece that we want. So we're gonna get 1, 2. There's going to be an enemy who's like supposed to ambush us, but he kind of forgot that he's on shift today. Like glitch our way out of here, hopefully. So a lot of these enemies as well also have access to the telekinesis blast that we have. So it kind of raises the stakes a little bit. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. It's really easy to get disoriented when flying through here, so I'm just going to make sure I'm going the right way. And then it's also really easy. Yeah, you got to get your breakout glitch done really quickly there. And then if you snipe that guy, he actually it actually knocks him into the sunlight, which kills him instantly. So right here, you're supposed to hit this stained glass mirror with a telekinetic force projectile, but you can just fly right through it. Why? Hell if I know. And so this is going to allow us to now access a secret area with the Fire Reaver. So, fun gaming fact, there was actually supposed to be a bunch of different, like, Soul Reaver shrines that allowed you to imbue, gain the ability to, like, at least nope, this is not the right way. There we go. Like, imbue your Reaver with a specific elemental property, and they expanded on this a good bit in Soul Reaver 2. But only one of them made it into the release of Soul Reaver 1 that we got, which is the, Fire Reaver, and we need this Fire Reaver now because we are actually heading next after this to grab the Fire Glyph spell, and the Fire Reaver is required there to solve a puzzle. Game, would you let me swim? Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and grab that. And then we're gonna get the Fire Reaver just like that. So, Fire Reaver is like a damage boost that we get that can also just like instantly destroy like vampires because it lights them on fire, and fire kills vampires. We literally need it for like a puzzle, but the Fire Reaver is also required for the requirements of the 100% category. So we're gonna go ahead and grab that, and we're gonna keep swimming until we make our way to that Fire Glyph shrine. So I wanted to open this up as well. So if anybody watching Completithon right now has like any questions about this game, running it, or just like anything, like if I forgot to like cover something even, like feel free to let me know in the chat and I'd be happy to answer questions. There's a lot going on with this game that's just kind of like hard to cover in action, so let me know if y'all have any questions, for sure, for sure. If you're interested in learning about some of the history with this game as well, I actually made a YouTube video talking about that fly stop glitch I talked about, kind of how it was discovered and how it kind of made an impact on runs when it was found. Alright, so I found this like the other day. We'll see if I can hit it. It's pretty tough. But I'm going to attempt to fly into this unloaded bit. And hopefully it will let me onto here. I'm looking for a ledge to get put on top of. Come on, game. You gonna tell me where I am? There we go. And so this handle is still active even when that part of the map is unloaded. This skips a really kind of obnoxious puzzle segment where you're supposed to flip between the spectral material realm in order to freeze time so you can like stealth through an area. And so that skips a pretty good part of that puzzle. And now we're going to fly through here in order to find a place where we can activate the Fire Reaver again. And then if we light the Fire Reaver, not the Firelink Shrine, that's Dark Souls. If we activate the Fire Glyph Shrine with the Fire Reaver, it will give us the Fire Glyph spell. Again, we need all spells in order to get 100% in this game. So, yeah, that skip is pretty new. It's a bit tricky because you kind of there is a setup just to kind of land in the spot that you need, but if you don't, it can be a little bit tricky to improvise because again, all the collision is invisible because it's unloaded. So I'm gonna do a jump here just to space myself, so if I miss the flight glitch, I don't immediately get bodied. Because we need to, in order to have the Soul Reaver equipped, we need to be at full HP. And so if I took a hit there, I would have had to not only refill my HP, but also get the Fire Reaver back and activate it again. So that's going to be our fire glitch here. Got another little bit of cutscene going on here. So yeah, like I said, anybody have any questions, feel free to ask away. But Caitlin, if you had anything to plug or if you had any questions, floor is yours.
I do actually have a question.
What's up?
I always love asking speedrunners this question because I find it so fascinating. What made you want to start running this game in particular?
So, for me, I heard about the remaster coming out for this game, and I figured that I wanted to try the original sort of before it came out, just so I could kind of, like, appreciate, like, the remaster for what it is, right? And so I played it, and I freaking fell in love with this game, actually. This game is really, really fun casually. And so I was like, okay, so what does the run look like? And then I checked out the any percent run and then the all bosses run, and I see this, like, flight glitch, and I'm like, holy crap, this looks awesome. And so from there, I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. I generally like to mess around with games that like either have smaller communities or haven't gotten run in a long time. And a lot of the theme for running this game, especially, is pretty Europe dominated. So it was like, you know, opportunity as well to expose this game to a bit more people, you know, from a speedrunning perspective. Because I'm like, I mean, like, look at this. I'm like, I gotta show people this. I gotta show them the sauce, you know. So we're in the kind of the backtracking segment right now, where now that we have Constrict from Duma, we can get a couple of extra upgrades here that we had to ignore on the first pass. I have tried so many ways to skip needing Constrict here, but let's just say the loading zones are impossible, like a 7-dimensional object, and I can barely handle 3 dimensions, let alone more than that. So. This is also kind of a funny instance where this is actually our second Eldritch Energy upgrade, but this game considers it our first because it won't play this cutscene for the one in the water. It's just programmed to not be able to, but it still remembers the fact that you haven't seen that cutscene for the first time, which I think is really funny. We're gonna fly the rest of our way through here. And again, anytime I open a door, it's going to let me maintain my super speed, so as soon as I get back through the door. And so this is actually I recently rerouted how I did this section, because I used to do a save and quit after I got this piece of heart. But after flying it... Oh! That's really bad. So I'm gonna have to quit and reload, because I missed the floor, and that would have avoided me out. So we're going to have to take a little bit of a longer way to get back there. A little annoying. But we'll still get to, in effect, see the reroute, where I grab the heart piece and I'm going to phase back through the gates. And, which way is... It's probably still this way, right? Yeah, no, it's definitely this way. All kinds of new mistakes this run, but again, there's so much that you have to remember how to do, and, like, so many little things that can just bury you alive, for lack of a better term, that, like, you just kind of have to be ready to improvise a little bit. So, actually just going to take a second to think this through a little bit and make sure that this isn't going to cause any problems. It shouldn't. Next, going this way will literally put us right back through here. Just kind of making sure I took the right warp this time. For this heart piece in particular, you're supposed to, like, use a block and use that to give you the height you need to T-post through a gate. But why do that when you can fly? I said, why do that when you can fly? Thank you, game. Okay, we're going to slow this down a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to break out of the phase shift animation. Again, whenever I'm, like, about to phase shift next to one of these gates, I'm just going to go ahead and do the breakout animation just to make it a little better. Just a little more optimized. We're going to crouch jump up here, and I'm going to do a brief little out of bounds to just get up here, and this kind of just skips a little bit of the movement. Even though, like, I haven't hit the loading trigger yet, part of that is still loaded. I'm going to go ahead and re-hop in, and that's that part of the backpack cleaned up. And so this next segment also got rerouted because of a discovery I found a couple of days ago. I kid you not. And now my brother is trying to call me on my phone. This is very inconvenient, but I feel like the heavens are conspiring against me right now. But that's what I get for not telling my brother I had a marathon today. Anywho, we're going to make our way through the store and grab some of the stuff that we didn't grab earlier just because it wasn't super convenient. And we also needed the Soul Reaver to grab an Eldritch Energy upgrade from this bit. I'm being very careful to dodge the enemies here because similar to like the Master Sword in the Zelda game, you only have that Soul Reaver. I think I might have said this already. You only have your Soul Reaver at full HP. And there are certain things you can only open by poking the Soul Reaver into a keyhole. And that actually has like makes it so it's something you have to keep in mind. I've lost time with it before. It's pretty evil. We're going to open these two gates right here to get another Eldritch Energy upgrade. And then there's one health upgrade that's like really annoying and out of the way to get. That's actually a bit more convenient if you don't do that sequence break that I did to get the Force Glyph early. But my actions, I'm reaping what I've sown, so we're going to have to make our way over there now. I'm going to go ahead and walk through this door again. This is actually going to cause me to fall off the edge here, which allows me to kind of set up right into another flight glitch. Didn't get a lot of height here. So something I haven't really talked yet about the flight glitch and the movement is there's actually multiple, like, types of flight glitches you can get. So sometimes you'll see me get the flight glitch, actually, and intentionally cancel out of it. I can't see myself. There we go. Okay, this worked. So depending on your timing with the flight glitch inputs, you can actually get variable amounts of initial upward velocity. And so sometimes you'll get a lot of height really quickly, which if you want to get high quickly, that's what you'll want to do. But in other instances, there might be a lot of ceilings, and you want to just start moving horizontally. So sometimes you'll want like a lower fly speed upward flight. And so it can be pretty tricky to like force the game to give you like a specific like value in that regard. But if you get really good at it and master it, it's really satisfying, but it also like gives you a lot more like depth and flexibility in the movement. All right, and so that's kind of the Mokaya area cleanup taken care of. We're heading into this stone glyph segment next. I'm actually going to do things a little bit differently here because like a couple times I've almost forgotten this heart piece on my way out of here, so I'm just going to grab it after this cutscene. So there's a couple things we need, and this is pretty much a side area and also kind of a nod to the first game in the Kain series, Blood Omen 1. This is New Crafter's Retreat, New Crafter being a character from Blood Omen 1. And so there's a couple things here. We have a glyph spell that we'll talk about, a heart piece upgrade, as well as a warp gate that we'll be using on our way out as a convenient exit. We're going to grab this one and then fly down here. Oh, there's a ledge there? Thank you, game. I got so bailed out right there. And so we're going to be seeing kind of a cool strat that you only really get to in 100%, called wrong side telekinesis blasts, where if you angle a telekinesis shot I'm not going to get this one. This one's really precise, so we're just going to move it. And we'll do it from this side. No. It's again, wrong side. Okay. When you have the Soul Reaver, it's a bit trickier. It's easier to do it on like one side versus another. And so we are going to go ahead, push this block down, and then I need to make sure I have this rotated properly. And so we have a giant block pushing segment. I'm not joking with the Zelda game allegations. This game loves its block pushing puzzles. And so all these blocks need to be like rotated and facing correctly in order for this puzzle to be solved properly. And you can see them kind of line up with the murals in the back. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this one from a distance. Nice, I hit that shot. Hit this twice more, and that should slot in right there. Then we're going to do another wrong side blast right here. And this basically, whenever I do these wrong side blasts, is allowing me to avoid the really slow push-pull animation. And then I have to manipulate this one real quick. This is like a huge memorization check as well. And then it's gonna have to go this way. Took forever to find like a half decent way to optimize this segment too. Let me just make sure I have this one confirmed and good to go. Awesome. So I'm gonna head up to this side. There's a block that you're supposed to use other blocks to access, but with a really precise lineup, you can force it off the ledge just like that. Nice. And that allows us to, like, that saves a really long segment off the puzzle. It's really obnoxious otherwise. So there's 2 blocks we have to send in that far direction, and 1 we have to send in the direction we just came from. But other than that, there isn't too much more that I'm doing here that I haven't already kind of described to y'all. So, Caitlin, you have the floor for quite a bit here if you'd like to take it, so go right ahead.
Absolutely. So chat says when I grow up, I'm going to tell my kids that this was Citizen Kain, and I think that's the funniest thing in the world.
That's awesome.
Let's see. So the optional Sephiroth fight is still open. We still need to reach $175 to be able to meet that incentive. And chat, that is something you definitely want to meet, because who doesn't want to see more Kingdom Hearts and who doesn't want more Completithon? Like, come on, it's a no-brainer.
I've been saying this.
We still have the voiceover language bid war open. Japanese is still ahead by $30. English is still trailing behind by $25. So make sure you have those donations coming in to meet both of those incentives and to have Japanese or English win the bid war.
Give me a sec while there's like so many like little, like, obviously I have like a mapped out plan with all these blocks, but like specific blocks have to go in specific slots too. So I just really want to make sure I don't completely screw this up, because otherwise that's gonna look really embarrassing.
Absolutely.
You would think with a movement heavy game it'd be like, that would be the part I'm stressing about, but actually no, it's the block puzzle. And I pushed it 1 too
The
far.
block puzzle, it's my only weakness.
I have to use my brain? That's crazy.
Brain in my video games? How dare.
One more, and then that should...
And if you're looking for a place...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good, you're good.
If you're looking how to donate, make sure to type !donate in chat to get the link to our Tiltify page where you can make a direct donation, and make sure you indicate if you're putting it towards any of the incentives, because we are not able to do that on the back end. We have amazing incentives and bid wars for you to choose from, so make sure to get those donations in to help get them met. And as always, time is running out, guys, so get those donations in as soon as you can. We got a bunch of good things still left for you to see.
Yeah, so that entire puzzle sequence was for 1 spell. And also the spell that we got is, like, not even very good. So, it's 100%. Oh, yep, that happened to me in practice. So sometimes you gotta be careful with where you fly, because if you go too fast, or you hit certain slopes, then things will unload. And as I mentioned earlier, if things don't load in the proper order, then you're cooked, and you won't be able to progress to the next part. So this is also going to get us another warp gate, and then we're going to be doing another version of the Spirit Airlines trick that I was talking about. This setup called well, I found it, so I got to name it, called TSA Pre-Check, because it kind of looks like we're going through airport security every time we go inside one of those warp gates. But it turns out that because the Underworld Warp Gate forces a transition into the Spectral Realm regardless of your animation, it allows you to store or have that flight glitch primed, right? And so that allows us to, like, speed through there. And that doesn't seem like a lot. But right there, like, I think that's the first time I've ever hit it, like, that well. Like, in RTA, that saves at, like, at least 30 to 40 seconds, if not more. The flight glitch in this game is just that busted. So we gotta take a quick couple of dips here for some hurt pieces. We're gonna grab this one right here, and then face back out, and then I have to do kind of an annoying double crouch jump. Again, unless I like set it up, I don't really have access to the flight glitch in the spectral realm. So I'm going to be using double crouch jumps in some spots in order to make up for that. And then we're going to go through here, and as soon as I get enough leeway, I'm going to go ahead and hit that breakout glitch for another flight. Then we're going to go, whee! Grab that health piece. This is going to get us our second heart container. We've got 5 more heart pieces left to go, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to take us a while to get there. We're only at, like, on my count, the hour and almost 10 mark. And we still got a lot more again to do. We still got a lot of hard stuff coming up, too, so... we're going to be going ahead and grabbing what's called Cathedral Warp. We're going to be making use of this warp again a bit later, after we do kind of our last Zelda dungeon before we get the rest of the cleanup we need to do for 100%. And so normally in like an all bosses run, you just fly straight to the boss Zephon here, but there's a bunch of stuff that we need to grab on the way, including a heart piece that is locked behind one of the most notorious block puzzles in the game. But there's a really cool glitch called a telestab that we can use to skip it. It is very difficult, but even if it takes forever, I'm going to go for it as many times as it takes me because it is really cool, and even still will save a ton of time. So, pretty tricky movement segment here to start. I'm going to go ahead and do another cancel of phase shift as we go through here. Go ahead and transform, and we got a bit of a tricky flight path. There's a lot of very fast, dangerous enemies here that are like these spider vampires that you have to be very careful of. And so we're gonna just take a flight right here. Something else that I'm doing that I haven't quite mentioned as well is you'll see sometimes when I fly, I kind of put it in reverse throttle a little bit. That's intentional. That's called a wing smash. If I'm in like mid glide and I press like a hover button, it will increase like the animation speed of like my hover, and so I can use that to build extra speed on top of what I already get. So like right here, for example, I get height, and then I do 2 wing smashes right there. Gotta break this before an enemy gets me. And then right there, there's kind of a weird looking wall. You're only supposed to be able to climb that with the upgrade you get from defeating this boss, Zephon. But we don't have that yet, right? So we just fly over it. And again, this is also why all the abilities that we've gotten have been important to get up until this point, because we need things like that telekinesis blast in order to even do the sound glyph shrine in the first place. Alright, so this is kind of a cool puzzle casually where you're supposed to figure out how to get this mallet up to where the spell is located in order to ring a bell. And you have to like carefully manipulate spectral and material realm in order to get it, but we're just gonna fly up here, and that doesn't let go of the gong for us, and then we're just going to hit it. Even though the gong looks invisible, I'm still holding it, I promise. And that's gonna be the sound glyph for us, so that was pretty well done. You gotta be really careful there. On that first of those 2 stained glass window shots, there is an enemy that is right there. So I actually landed in a specific spot so that it would take him a little bit longer to aggro to give me enough time to land the shot and hopefully not take a hit. I like to keep the Soul Reaver here if I can, because the animation for telekinesis is faster with the Soul Reaver equipped than if it's just like the Kai Blast, as I like to call it. Now you see the the freaking mallet there, and then it disappears again for the cutscene. I think I might have actually golded this segment. That was pretty good. Let's see how this lines up. Come on. Yeah, 4-second gold. Let's go. Alrighty, so we're gonna set up another flight glitch, and then we have to take a pretty long walk of shame in order to find a place where we can phase shift again here. So there's not too much going on here. So Caitlin, you've got more time if you'd like to plug anything. How's that bid war coming?
The bid war we have going is Japanese is still ahead by $5. So Japanese is at 30, English is trailing behind at 25. So there is still time for you to get those donations in to turn the tide for English or to have Japanese pull away from the pack. Type exclamation point donate in the chat to pull up the link where you can donate directly.
We got a pretty ridiculous flight sequence coming up here. I need a lot of height and speed here, so I don't want too much speed, because if I have too much speed, it'll actually take me out of my flight glitch, but we want a high flight glitch, so I have to adjust my timing here so we can get enough height to get up into this tunnel. If we can break this, this is going to have an Eldritch Energy upgrade. I'm going to try to... Again, a lot of these, like, heart piece and energy upgrade containers have very, very small hitboxes, so they can be really obnoxious. And also just getting into this tube is maybe the worst thing ever, because it considers a lot of those walls as, like, a slope. And it's like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. So, like, right there, for example. So we're going to go ahead. There's a big puzzle you're supposed to do to activate a wind current to fly all the way up here, but we can fly without wind because we are magical. And so coming up is that trick I was talking about that's like the hardest trick in the game, called a telestab. I'm going to be setting up time stop and then quickly deactivating and activating the glyph select menu next to an enemy, which is going to store the coordinates of the enemy I was standing next to so that I can try to do a thrust attack on it. I'm going to try to manipulate an enemy next to a cage with a heart piece in it to hopefully let me stab towards the enemy, thereby clipping me in there. This is very difficult, this entire sequence, so I'm going to ask for everyone for some quiet time here. So I need to kill one of these enemies here. We're going to go ahead and save. And then I'm going to manipulate this enemy to the other side and try to shift into the spectral realm as he lunges at me. It's not a guarantee to work. It's really tricky to line up, so I'm going to start shutting up now. That might work. We'll see. Sounds like it didn't work. Okay. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't... That's the attack animation I want. So this, again, this might take several tries. We'll see. That looks good. I say that, but who knows if he'll behave. There we go. So you're not hearing any noises from him. Now I need to set up time stop on a really awkward scene. I got camera locked here, unfortunately, but that shouldn't be a problem if I can find him. Okay, so I'm going to crouch next to him. Tab. This is going to store that I'm standing next to him. And then... Boom! Just like that! Nice! Okay, we got it. That's going to give us the heart piece right there. Then we just hop here. Nice! That's the hardest trick in the game. Woo! Okay, we got out of there. Let's freaking go. I cannot tell you how hard that sequence is. Oh my god. I was so worried about that coming into this. I'm so glad I hit that. Alright. So that's by far the hardest trick in the game, but that doesn't mean this run is anywhere near over. We still got a bunch of really tricky flight paths that I'm going to try to nail while I'm in here. I'm going to take care of these two humans that stood absolutely zero chance. Trying not to get destroyed here. Oh. Getting a little destroyed. All of these pipes can count as a surface that you stand on, which can make the game be like, hey, get down from there. I have a lot of fly speed here. Sorry, I'm just trying to manage. Okay, let's try this again. I had so much vertical height there. It's pretty rare to get that much vertical speed. So I was trying to manipulate it, see if I could leverage it. Didn't happen. That's okay. And then right here, I'm going to be going... So we just skipped another really long, obnoxious puzzle, and I'm about to do one more. But this one requires a flight glitch setup that is kind of like a hole-in-one sort of situation. It's pretty tricky. So I'm going to focus here again for a second. First of all... Oh, that's rude. This should work. Yeah, so not the fastest version, but I still do get the hole-in-one. And then before normally I would just fly into the boss arena proper, but before I do that, I'm actually going to phase into Spectral real quick. Just so I can have the Soul Reaver for this fight. There we go. Okay. Maybe the scariest, one of the scariest segments of the run pretty much done. This boss is much easier than literally everything that was leading up to it. But we got a really cool cutscene here. Having the Soul Reaver here is going to be really useful. The way this boss normally plays out is you have to dodge an attack from one of his many claws, and it gets stuck in the ground, and then you have to destroy it. But if you have the Soul Reaver projectile, you can actually snipe each of his limbs in advance, so you don't have to engage with that mechanic of the fight. And so, once you take care of all his limbs, you can just shoot him from range. It'll cause him to spawn one of his eggs, and then you chuck that egg while it's on fire at him, dealing damage. We do it 3 times because it's a Zelda boss, and it'll be good to go just like that. Whew. Sorry, give me. Let me just take a sec to stop talking and drink some water. Because after this bit, the next 2 segments, there is some cutscene, but not a lot. So there's going to be a lot going on for me here. Caitlin, feel free if you have anything you wanted to bring up. Maybe tell everyone what we're raising money for here. Now would be a pretty good time.
Absolutely. So all of your donations are going towards the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. Girls Make Games believes in providing every girl and woman with the opportunity to discover their potential and talents through gaming and game development. With your donations, you're able to contribute directly to the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund that provides girls and women with the resources and opportunities to pursue careers in gaming through GMGs, many programs such as their college scholarships, summer camp scholarships, and their new mentorship and internship programs, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see us get some more progress done, especially on the Sephiroth incentive coming up as well. So all of your donations towards that will be going towards Girls Make Games as well. Might take a hit here. Oh, there we go. Okay. As long as I just get the initial hits on all the limbs, I don't actually need Soul Reaver. Really nice thing about this game is after you defeat a boss, you get a full HP refill. So yoink. He's gonna make some vampire eggs. I'm gonna throw them. Wait a second. Hit him with the key blast. Come on. There we go. And he's gonna make a very funny sound. He's like, real quick flashing lights for this next pickup right here. And should be good. Sorry for not calling those out a little bit earlier in advance. But where we're headed next is the light glyph. We have basically done everything for the main story areas of the game. There's 2 optional areas we haven't gone to yet, which is the lighthouse and the human citadel. We're going to be taking care of the lighthouse first, and this is the end split of the run has some scary stuff, but the lighthouse is also probably the area I'm the most worried about, because there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there if I'm not careful. So we're going to be making use of my favorite speedrun strat, which is safety saves, just to make sure we get through there. But we also got another warp gate we're going to grab very conveniently right out of this boss door, which is going to let us go back to the cathedral warp we grabbed. And then the first thing I'm going to be doing is a pretty high-speed upwards flight to get up and out of bounds so I can land past the gate so I don't have to, transform and then swim. Just saves a little bit of time. And here we go. Okay. Another door glitch right there. So again, if you're just tuning in and you have no idea what I'm doing with these doors, I'm doing a glitch called the breakout glitch that when I activate it allows me to animation cancel whatever I'm doing. And I'm using that on the door opening animation specifically so that I can walk through the doors a little bit faster. And so this is going to put us into this swim tube. So again, we needed to have swim before we got to this segment of the run. We're also going to really want it before going into the human citadel as well. And again, I'm kind of spamming jump and crouch just so I can get Raziel to swim just a little bit faster. And this whole stub area here, the lighthouse, has only 2 things for us in terms of completion percentage. The warp gate, which is right around the corner, and then the light glyph, which is the best spell in the game. We're not going to use any of the other spells. It just matters that we get that And there's a pretty involved series of puzzles and stuff. It's almost like this is like its own like mini dungeon with the amount of involved stuff going on, and also just the degree of high-level enemies that are here. It's pretty tough casually, but we've got some pretty cool strats to not have to worry as much about them. So here's that warp gate that I mentioned, and then as soon as we pop out of the water, I'm going to be doing a flight glitch to skip all of the parkour in this entry section to the lighthouse, and then I have to be very careful to avoid enemies, because having the Soul Reaver will be really helpful in a lot of spots here. Okay, good. Yeah, so most of these guys can spit projectiles at me, which are very deadly. I'm going to cancel my flight early. I'm actually going to go ahead and not do door glitches on a couple of these doors just to potentially avoid problems. Because sometimes these cutscenes in particular, these area overview ones, or like when the puzzle states change, can be really funky. Alright, so the first part of this is pretty straightforward. We need to activate the spinning mechanism for the lighthouse, which is a pretty easy puzzle. The tricky part is after that, I'm going to be doing a fly stop in and fly stop out of the second puzzle section to actually turn on the light bulb. And that's the part I'm really worried about. There's an enemy here I'm going to try to skadoosh. Good. And we're going to try to get some uppies real quick. Raz will let me fall off here. Going to hit this into position, and we're essentially moving this block into spots so we can prevent this crank mechanism from turning, which somehow turns on the rotational part of the lighthouse. Don't ask me how that works. I'm not an engineer. Don't claim to be. I just play video games fast. So, boop, just like...
Can I jump in real quick?
Oh, right for it.
Chat, we are $35 away from reaching $2,400. My personal challenge to you is I think we can reach $2,400 before the end of this run. And I think that would be a great way for Jaxler to complete his run with us reaching that milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, I'm gonna do a door glitch right there just to prevent an enemy from hopefully not aggroing onto me. Looks fine, and this is the part where I save. Oh, not even. Okay. So, I got a version of Time Stop that actually locks my camera, which is a little annoying, but I can't, you know, beggars can't be choosers when it comes to this specific part in particular. Because things can go very, very wrong if you try to press your luck just a little too hard. Alright, I don't think I got... Give me just a second to make sure I get this. Slightly now more recognize where I am. Okay. Okay. I know where I am now. Good. I cannot believe I saved that. Holy crap, that could have been extremely, extremely bad. But we got through there. We hit the trick. And now we're going to do some puzzle solving here. I have a little bit of respite. So we're going to be doing that same trick we did with the stone glyph segment, where I'm going to be shooting projectiles at the sides of blocks to push them forward. Which, again, you're not supposed to be able to do, but it's going to save on a lot of unnecessary push and pull animations. But yeah, if you thought that time stop looks kind of suspect, this one is arguably... The one after this is arguably even worse. If we get through there, I'm going to be really happy. That's just the goal right now. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to need y'all's energy, chat. Send me some energy and donations. I need all the help I can get right now.
You heard him, chat. Let's see those positive vibe donations come flooding in.
Alright, so getting this like fluid generator set up is going to turn on the light bulb mechanism, I guess. And then after we do this, I am going to safety save again. This should save me from anything bad happening with this, but just to make sure, I'm going to safety save anyway. Because it should hopefully save the fact that we turn this on. Alright, so we got another flight. This one's not too bad. I just have to set up time stop in a really, really annoying location. And then it's pretty likely as well that I will get camera lock. Similar to what... usually I don't get camera lock on that first setup. But... Alright, here we go. We're gonna start by storing the flight glitch for later. And then this kind of seam in the doorway is what I need for... Oh, I have a setup here. This is not a good enough setup. I need to adjust. This is what I call the bait setup, where it's like... Yeah, sometimes that'll happen, where it, like... You hit the frame, but it doesn't trigger your time stop. Come on, dude. Okay. We're camera locked, but that's okay. And then hopefully we can fly our way out of here. Okay, it doesn't matter if I lose flight glitch here. And hopefully... Didn't crash either. Okay, I'm actually gonna... I should not have done the door glitch there, but hopefully I don't get punished for my crimes. Assuming the cutscene ends, we got through there without any hassle. So I took that really safe, really slow, but that was pretty much what that segment looks like. So that was all the really scary stuff. Oh my god, I can't tell you how hard that segment is. It's... Alright. Deep breaths, Jax, deep breaths. Alright, and then eventually it should give me control back. Good. That means I didn't do anything wrong. And then that should be everything we need to do the puzzle to get the actual light glyph to itself to spawn. Very exciting stuff. Oh my goodness, camera. There we go, okay. So the way this puzzle works is that we need to freeze time so that light hits this triangle in the center. And I'm going to warn you right now, big flashing lights warning for this next bit. I will let you know when it's over. I will be going for a cutscene skip on this light glyph as well, but it's not... It's again, whenever there's like a 1-frame window where I can, okay, flashing lights is over. Ah, I didn't quite get it. That's fine. So if I nailed the frame right there, I could have saved and quit after getting the glyph, similar to what I did with the force glyph. So it'll let me skip this animation, but only a couple of seconds, not a big deal. So imagine doing all that scary stuff and you're trying to hit a frame perfect trick at the end of the segment too. Alright, one more segment to go before the final string of events here. We gotta take on the Human Citadel. The Human Citadel, I think before, like, things had to get cut back due to scope and budget, the Human Citadel was supposed to, like, be this big area before, like, another segment of the game with a 5th vampire brother. But they kept a lot of the Human Citadel stuff around, and there's a bunch of cool stuff there, like for pickups and stuff. And so we've kind of saved that area for last, because this is kind of just the most convenient time to go do it, but there's a bunch of cool strats in there. So we're going to take the Abyss Warp again. Give me the flight glitch, please. Thank you. Alright, and so we're going to zip through here. Again, opening the door in the super speed is going to let me maintain it so I can... Raz, please. Open the door, dude. Dude, the door. You can open it. Thank you, man. I really appreciate your concerted effort to help the speedrun here. Anywho, so one more flight here. We really wanted to kind of have most of everything upgrade-wise. We don't really ever need Zephon's upgrade, which I didn't even really talk about because it's such a non-starter. It lets you climb specific walls, like ladders, which isn't useful at all because we have a flight glitch. So there's kind of a parkour segment you're supposed to do to break into this place, but we're just going to fly up to the hatch right here, activate the cutscene. And this is going to have a lot of flight movement going on here. So there's a bunch, there's like 3 more heart pieces. Is it 3 or 4? I can't even remember. God. I think it's 3 heart pieces, as well as 1 more Eldritch energy upgrade, as well as the last glyph spell, which is the water glyph. So here's one of them. This is supposed to be like a secret kind of thing that you're supposed to search for, and I'm actually not flying here on purpose. It is extremely likely that if you fly through this specific tunnel, it will deload everything. You really don't want to do that. And then the water glyph puzzle is actually pretty straightforward. All we need to do is push a block into a drain in order to flood water into the spot. I'm going to snipe that guy from range. And this part's pretty straightforward here. There is going to be one little strat that I go for here. But Caitlin, how's our pace looking? How are we doing trying to hit that goal before the end of the run?
Let's see. We are still trying to reach $175 to unlock that optional Sephiroth fight. Japanese is still in the lead by $5 with 30, and English closely trailing behind with 25.
Come on,
And
y'all.
chat, we are still just $35 away from reaching $2,400, which I know we can do. It is so doable. So get those donations in as fast as you can, because time is going to be coming up sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. It would be so cool to hit that before the end of my run. Chat, if you want to make my dreams come true, go right for it. Alright, I'm going to try to, not even remotely close. If you stand right where the water glyph is going to spawn, you can pick it up part of the way through this cutscene. It's really hard because the camera kind of sucks there. You don't, if it wasn't already apparent, you can't really control your camera very much after doing like that door glitch. So we're going to grab that water glyph and then go back the way we came and do all the other stuff in Human Citadel. So we've got 2 more heart pieces, Eldritch energy upgrade, and a warp gate. And you can kind of see the animation speed up glitch there, kind of allowing me to climb up there a little bit faster. Usually it's faster to fly glitch your way all the way through that. And doing some wing smashes through here. Oh, he wants to beat me up. How about no? There's a bunch of guys with flamethrowers here, but if you're even like remotely fast, you'll just ignore them completely. And then just trying to maintain my super speed through here for as long as possible. I think I mentioned this as well earlier, but there are certain animations that you can accidentally do that will end your speed up glitch, so you'll need to re-trigger it. Such as walking and crouching for too long. So if you see me do little stutter steps, that's actually the maximum amount I can walk without accidentally turning off my speed glitch. One more warp gate. We're going to get that Eldritch Energy upgrade, which should be our last. That should put us at 52 Glyph Energy, if I did my math correctly. Otherwise, I missed one somewhere, and I have no idea where it would be. So... But you can see we have all of our Glyph spells now as well, which is pretty dope. Oh, I forgot that that will unload you sometimes, so... Yeah, movement through the human citadel is actually pretty tricky. That's my flight glitch. Yeah, because there's like things like I'm just gonna snipe those guys so they don't hurt me. All right, 52. That means we have them all. That's a very good sign. It's really hard to activate the flight glitch when you're in some of these like low ceiling tunnels as well, because it just removes some of the leniency that you would normally have with the trick. There we go. If you listen carefully, you can actually hear the sound of the glyph spell trying to cast, because we interrupted it, so it just never gets the line of code to tell it, hey, you can stop doing that now if you want. And then there's one more heart piece here that you're normally supposed to do a block pushing puzzle for. But there's similar to what we did in the Fire Glyph Shrine. There's actually a hole in the ceiling that we can fly through that allow us to go up and out of bounds. This height looks perfect for that. We can then fall back inside here, and that lets us skip the entire puzzle segment. And then as soon as we got the heart piece, we're going to do a save and quit to get us out of here. And so as far as 100% is concerned, we are almost done now. So we basically have to beat the final boss and grab 2 more warp gates along the way, which are mostly just kind of there for like progress purposes if you die, so you can kind of get back to where you were a little bit sooner. So we're going to take that Duma warp that we got way further on, so you can see right there, have all those warps that are great are the last 2 that we need, and then we'll have 100% completion from there. We're going to do a big flight glitch, which is actually used in a lot of categories to skip ever having to fight Duma. Actually, there's a time stop set up for it as well that I think is used in any percent specific. Don't worry about it. I've already overwhelmed you all enough for the past little bit. So we're going to get some zoomies here and then hopefully get some good height here to get up and over this wall. And I'm doing these big jumps to try to maintain my speed glitch, and then after I get this warp gate, I'm going to make another safety save, because sometimes if I don't do this right, this time stop I'm about to do will crash the game. If you can't already tell, sometimes this game just loves crashing. That's cool. So go ahead and make that safety save. Cool. And so what we're going to do to start is we're going to activate, we're going to prime a flight glitch. Keep that in the back of your head for now. It's going to not come up for a little bit. But this is one of my favorite segments in the run to show people. This, I need to adjust a little bit so I don't... Okay, that should work. So we have time stop now, so what we're going to do is stand next to this enemy and tab and untab. This is going to store the fact that I am standing next to him. If I go through a specific order of load zone, so this one right here, for example, this will kind of alter the coordinates that it will try to make Raziel stab at. So if I do, hopefully... Might have beat this, so we might have to try this again. We are going to give this another go. I am significantly increasing my risk of crashing here, but we're going to try to salvage this. Because hopefully this will let us teleport through a door and skip a ton of puzzles. There we go! Nice! That's what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to do a pause delay on this telestab. Nice. To get me clipped out of bounds. That pause input is actually frame perfect, and that's going to let me clip the rest of the way through the door. Awesome. Okay, so we should be good for a moment. So what I'm gonna do now is fall all the way down here. You're gonna notice Raziel's neck kind of snap. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. That step right there is important, otherwise this telestab will take me somewhere completely wrong. This is going to let me clip through that door, so we're skipping imagine this is Ganon's castle, and we're skipping, like, all of the puzzles in Ganon's castle. That's essentially what we're doing with all this. And we're gonna actually chain 2 telestabs together here, so I'm jumping before all of these, so it actually tricks Raziel into being a grounded state. Otherwise, as soon as I press stab, I would just go into immediate freefall. So he's gonna go, ah! And then, that's going to reset my telestab target, so when I do one here, it's going to teleport me to this platform, so I can maintain my time stop state. Then do a late crouch jump right there to get up and over there. And then we're gonna do one more telestab here. So we're gonna go with that guy. And if I do this right, this should let me clip through the ceiling and fly into another tunnel, which skips basically every puzzle in the entire end game here. Alright. Camera angle is a little dodgy, but we are in there. And motion sickness warning. We are about to do some high-speed flying through this tunnel here, hopefully. I can't tell if I'm losing height or not. Hold on a second. So, you've got pretty low ceilings here and pretty tight turns. So, there's a bunch of cutscenes that are supposed to be playing with, like, each of these weird galaxy display portal thingies that are really long. And so, time stop is letting us ignore all of those triggers. And with that fly stop I set up right at the start of this bit, I'm allowed to fly through all of them, which saves a boatload of time. I will need to cancel this early, however, so that I can go ahead and grab our final warp gate, which is going to guarantee us 100% completion. And then we are going to make our way into the final boss, just like that. Chat, we are already getting towards the end of the run here. You are running out of time to get us over the hill to 2400 by the end of this run. Make my dreams come true, y'all. I would love to frickin' see it.
I second that, chat. We can definitely do it. Let's make Jaxler's dreams come true.
Alright, and we have now officially entered the Kain 2 fight. So, Kain 2, I'm just going to explain it now, just because it's pretty much going to work the exact same as Kain 1 did, except he just goes to different places, where he's going to teleport to a specific spot based on where we're standing, and then we, as long as we don't move, we can just go chase him down and hit him before he can hit us back. So, while we're here, this is an extremely long cutscene before we actually get into the fight proper. So, I guess while I'm here, I just wanted to give a couple of shoutouts as well. First of all, I wanted to shout out y'all for getting the Soul Reaver 2 incentive net. After we call time here and maybe talk a little bit more, we'll be going straight into that run. I'm really excited to show that one to you. That run is very funny. But I want to give a couple of shout-outs. So I wanted to shout out the Legacy of Kain series speedrunning community. I wanted to specifically shout out Crispy Taco, Demented Spatula, Victus, and Tramoncino, as well as anyone else who's ever had their hand in this game or any other game in the series. This is a really cool little tight-knit community. There is a Discord server. If you go to speedrun.com and look up the boards for this game, there should be a link there. And if you can't find it, just shoot me a message and I can send it to you. I'm so grateful to them for helping me learn a lot of this stuff, because as hopefully I've made clear, this runs really hard. So just to be able to like do that isn't a measure, I would say, of me, but of like all the things that other people in this community have found and have imparted upon me. So I want to give them a huge shout out. I would also like to shout out my my back couch. So from left to right, we've got Gibby the Cloudsire, Gibraltar the Clodsire. We've got Thump the Whooper, and his name is Thump because that's the sound he makes when he falls over. And then Jerome, who's the Snorlax, who's been chilling this whole run. And then on my actual couch, this is Hippo, this is Fig. Best couch.
Mobius foretold mine a millennium.
Yeah, like I said, if you've enjoyed this run so far and you're interested in seeing more runs of this game or other stuff like it that you might not have really heard of before, I kind of specialize in the obscure stuff. So I stream at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. So feel free to find me there if you want to see whatever I'm up to next. But I want to give a huge shout out to Completithon as well for letting me do Hundo. This is, like I said earlier, one of my favorite speedrunning categories, point blank, period. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get to show it off.
How could I not?
And I'm just going to kind of let us enjoy the cutscene here for a little bit because this song in the background is so freaking sweet.
Can you grasp the absurd beauty?
I'll actually like listen to it before getting ready to do runs to like hype myself up.
Seraphim and vampire.
Ooh.
With our holy wars, our obsession with Nosgoth's domination. Who better to serve?
Oh yeah, this is like a huge lore bomb, by the way. This game's like writing and voice acting and just lore is so freaking cool. Super recommend you go play this game. Like I said, I think a while ago there is a remaster for this game that came out about a year ago for both this and Soul Reaver 2. The bonus run we'll actually be doing on the remaster. Spoiler. You should play them both. Support the devs. These games are awesome. You should play them.
But you know nothing.
Alright, I'm just gonna enjoy the vibes of the cutscene here, and time will be on final hit. I will let you all know when we are approaching that final hit, though. Still got a bit more cutscene. Like I said, this cutscene is so long!
The same as ours. You are lost in a maze of moral relativism, Kain. These apparitions and portents. What game are you playing now? Destiny is a game, is it not? And now, you await my latest move.
Just gonna teleport right in front of me. Poke. And it's gonna spawn me in a predetermined location. That was hit number 1. Hit number 2, I just gotta run forward, and I'm gonna try to avoid a ledge grab if possible. If I get hit by Kain, not the end of the world, because there is a thing in the center that'll just refuel my HP. It becomes a bit harder to manip if I mess it up. Alright, that was hit number 2. Time is coming up very soon for hit number 3. Alright, get ready on time. Time. Whew! Okay, so that was a 150.49 by my timing. I had live split going on in the background. And I will double check SRC, but I think that is world record by a couple of minutes. I didn't want to say anything because I had to rearrange my splits pretty massively with some of those reroutes I talked about. But yeah, I believe that is a new world record. I need to double check. I think I have like my time was like a 154 or something like that. I don't know, but I think that is world record. So you know what? I'm gonna fact check myself real quick. If y'all don't mind. Speedrun.com. Soul Reaver. Not Dark Souls. Soul Reaver. Yep, that is record by a lot. Okay. It was like a high 154. So, yeah. New world record, everybody. Let's freaking go. Oh my goodness. Funny, because I like softlock too, so. But yeah, that just gets to show that there's so much, with this category specifically, left to push. There's so many ways the game can just ruin your life, but that's why I love this category. There's so much left to be done with it. And again, I'm so grateful for getting to show you all a live world record. That's going to be it for me for this run. We're going to need to take a second in order to swap over to the remaster because y'all made that incentive happen for me. So stay tuned. And thank you so much for checking out Soul Reaver Hundo. I've been Jaxler, and thanks for being here. See you in the incentive momentarily.
Well, chat, let's give Jaxler an extra congratulations on that new world record. How absolutely insane was that? I am so excited for him. So, to celebrate that new world record, why don't we get a dono train going? We are still $35 away from reaching $2,400, and we still have a bid war going for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix for the voiceover language bid war. Japanese is still ahead with $30, English closely trailing behind with $25. We are also still looking to get $175 to unlock the optional Sephiroth fight for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. That is super exciting, and I would absolutely love to see that. And after that amazing run, chat, this is also a good time for everybody to stand up, stretch, hydrate, unshrimp yourself from your chair, do some self-care. And with that, we just had a donation from Anonymous come in for $10 with no note, but that's okay. Thank you so much for your generous donation. We are now only $25 away from reaching $2,400. Let's see those donations keep coming in, chat. We still have so much more Completithon 2025 to show you. And the more time we have to run awesome games and raise money for a super cool charity, the more time we all get to hang out. While you are making those donations towards our incentives, make sure you are checking the incentive that you want your donation to go towards, because we're not going to be able to fix it on this end. And of course, you want your donation to go towards the incentives that you want to see played in just a few hours. And everybody hang tight, because we are setting up the incentive run of Soul Reaver 2, an any percent run, which, chat, you guys just donated too fast. We unlocked the incentive before the run even started. And I think we can keep that energy up with Kingdom Hearts 2. I would love to see these incentives get unlocked before the run even starts. We are still just $25 away from reaching $2,400. I believe we can do it, chat, before Jaxler signs off. He asked us to make his dreams come true, and I think we can do that. Don't we want to do that, chat? Our incentive run is going to be up in just a little bit, so you still have plenty of time to get those donations in for all of the Kingdom Hearts 2 incentives we have available. And make sure when you're making that donation, you are checking off the incentive that you want it to go towards. If you want to see Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix played in English voiceover, make sure you get those donations in now. English is behind by just $5. I think we can definitely turn the tide, or at least even tie up the bid war. All right, chat. I am getting the go ahead that the Soul Reaver 2 remastered any percent run is ready to go. Jaxler, take it away.
Had to make sure my couch was doing okay after their break. What's good, everybody? So, again, thank you all so much for meeting the incentive for Soul Reaver 2. As you might be able to see by the incentive, this run is very, very short. Interestingly enough, a lot of the glitches that you would have seen in Soul Reaver 1 make their way into Soul Reaver 2. We're doing this one actually on the remastered. There are even more cutscenes in Soul Reaver 2 than there are in 1. But this version of the game has all of the good glitchiness that we want. Plus, some of the glitches are easier, and we can skip cutscenes. So because of that, this run is going to go by really, really quickly. So we're going to see time stop again, we're going to see breakout glitch again, but they're going to look a little bit different and have some different properties. So brace yourselves, this run's going to go by very fast. I will let you know when to start time. We're going to count from 3 and then start on go. So we'll get this started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Where am I?
Alright, so you might be wondering who that guy was. Don't worry about it. He's not going to be... That's probably the last time we're ever going to see him in this speedrun. So, first things first, I'm going to do a breakout glitch into something called time stop. And so we have frozen time, similar to like we did in Soul Reaver 1, but this has the property of giving us no clip. So what I'm going to do is walk myself into this door in a very specific spot, so I make sure I don't miss a loading trigger. I want to make sure I get this right. Might work. Perfect. And so we just skipped about a third of the game. So normally the way the progression is supposed to work is you're supposed to get these things called the Dark Reaver and Light Reaver to open that door. But the door is just there from the start. So we can also skip the transition, basically traveling through time by doing another time stop thing. So there's two major ways we can get the breakout glitch in this game. We can either go into first person mode and lock onto an enemy. It's literally that easy. Or we can get on a small enough ledge and try to fire a telekinesis projectile. And if we get knocked off during the animation, that will also give us the breakout glitch. And so with time stop, we can, as you just saw, walk through walls. But it also lets us do this cool thing called a time stop jump, where if I prime it, when I let go of the breakout glitch, it will immediately try to open that menu right there and give me the no clip. So I can jump while that's happening and then deactivate that state by just opening the menu or closing the menu. And that'll let me like jump through walls and stuff. So we have already skipped like hours worth of gameplay. I am not even kidding, y'all. This run goes by so fast. So something I'm doing as well is, you might have noticed this, I'm actually playing on controller. And that's because whenever you're moving around in the breakout glitch state, if you move with the analog stick or with what would be WSAD, it will actually also turn the camera. And we want to be able to see where we're going. So yeah, we can get breakout glitches off of the enemies that are on doors on the other sides of loading planes. Like, it is so easy to like break this game. It's like unbelievable. So we have gone, I believe, I don't know if this is the future or the past, I don't remember. It's been a minute, but we're gonna see that swimming strat again, where if I mash crouch and jump, this will allow me to swim just a teeny bit faster. And then we are going to be jumping a lot. You won't see me jump at all pretty much when I am in time stop, because essentially when you're in the time stop state, the first time you activate it, you are walking on thin air, according to the game. And so the moment you jump, all floor collision will disappear. So I have to be very careful when I choose to jump. But when I'm mostly just moving around like this, I'm just going to be doing regular old jumps. And then, fun fact, this is actually not the fastest way to move in the game. If you spam a direction really, really quickly, that'll actually move you a decent bit faster than this jumping animation. But that is banned in speedruns for this game, because that either would hurt your hands or require turbo. And the community was just like, this sucks, let's just not bother. So I am going to go for a little bit of a swag strat here, where I'm going to get the... try to get the breakout glitch. Hello? I gotta be a little closer to my friend here. So the double crouch jump glitch actually is in this game, but it's typically not all that useful, but I did find one spot where I could make the argument that it's maybe faster. I'm just going for it for swag mostly. And this is to skip a little bit of platforming here, so... Ah. We'll try it again. There. Come on, game. Game, please. Okay, we're gonna go the normal way. No big deal. No big deal. I don't know why that didn't work. I'll have to study that one later. Anywho, so we're gonna be walking for a little bit. Basically, the goal of this run, like, this whole game is, like, Raziel just trying to, like, avoid being, like, manipulated and actually figure out the truth of what's going on in the universe. And, like, who to actually side with and believe. Spoiler alert, the answer is everyone sucks. And so because of that, we need to, like, go into different, like, eras and times in order to talk to different people, because some people are alive then, some are dead, that sort of thing. But all that really means for us is our goal is just to do the final time travel bit and get there as quickly as possible and then go defeat the final boss. That's all we really gotta do. So our goal is just to hightail it to the swamp area to get to the next, like, time travel device, essentially. Yeah, so this game pretty much picks up right after Soul Reaver 1. I really don't want to get too much into the plot, mostly because I just want you to play this game. This game is a lot more like an interactive, like, novel experience than it is a game. There's a game attached to it, but that is much less the focus here. I might be slightly tuned. There we go, I saved it. Nice. So, did a little bit of a shortcut there just by jumping through that wall. There's a bunch of little things like that. If I fall, like, out of the world, or I do time stop the wrong way, it is kind of a soft lock, so it would be a little sketchy if that happened, but don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. So we got a little bit of a swimming segment, and a couple of just... We're gonna see some more time stop again. It's not anything you haven't seen quite yet. There's a lot going on here. Caitlin, I hope you're holding up okay during all of this madness. But if we have any more posts or messages, this is probably a solid time to do it.
Are going so fast. So we still have the Defeat Sephiroth target open. You definitely want to see the optional Sephiroth fight, and we still have the voiceover language for Kingdom Hearts 2 still open. Japanese is still ahead with $30, and English is still trailing behind with $25. Make sure you get those donations in, and we are still only $25 away from $2,400 total for the entire marathon, and we want to make Jaxler's dreams come true. So get those donations in, because time is going to be so much sooner than you think, chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This game, guys, goes by real fast. And also, let's get that bid war a little more high. We can't just let the weebs walk away with this one for free, am I right? Like, come on. English got to put up a better fight. So this guy's going to spawn in right here. I'm going to get another breakout glitch off of him. And this is normally a spot where you're supposed to use the Dark Reaver. Oh, dang it. You're supposed to use the Dark Reaver to create, like, a bridge of sorts. But I skipped both. Spoiler warning, I'm skipping every kind of Reaver possible. We haven't even gotten the regular Soul Reaver yet. Or activated it yet. So essentially what I'm doing, since I don't think I really described it super well, whenever I'm doing this time stop thing, is after I get the breakout glitch, I am double tapping the glitch select menu so I can walk around a bit more. And so what'll happen is that, the moment I let go of the breakout glitch, it'll force that menu open. So what I can do is essentially use a pause to, like, buffer an input so I can walk around kind of, like, in that state and not just, like, be stuck in the, like, the menu, if that makes sense. All right, right here, but on this edifice, I am going to try to get... I need to get time stop off everybody. Can you be nice? But I also need him close enough to the door so I can re-enable breakout on him. You're normally not supposed to be able to get into here until you get what's called the Air Reaver, which lets you break a couple of breakable walls in the game. That's about it. It also lets you make these, like, air geysers. But we don't need that, so we're just going to leave and travel through time, and that's going to be the last time travel that we need to do. And now, pretty much from here, all I need to do is just get to the final boss as quickly as possible. Yeah, so fun fact, by the way, we might still be, if this were the original release of Soul Reaver 2, we might still be in the intro bit of cutscene. That's just how long some of the cutscenes are in this game. And thank goodness the remaster lets you skip them, because otherwise this run would take forever. Anywho, we're literally going to go back the way we came, but because we've time traveled, that means that things have flooded a little bit and changed how we go about moving through the area. So I'm being very mindful not to jump into the swampy goop here, because that's really slow. Jump all the way down here, and there's going to be a guy I want to talk to right here for a breakout glitch. And then this one's pretty tricky, so I'm going to activate it and then do the air run. And I'm actually a little lower than where I need to be, so as soon as I cancel out of breakout, I'm gonna go ahead and try to buffer a jump so that I land on top of this platform. This is again skipping that air Reaver that we didn't grab. Okay, good. And the even trickier part is this casually intended jump that's coming up in a second. If I miss it, I have to do this whole bit all over again, which is... Yep, there, and see what I mean? Oh, did I just save that? I have never saved that before. Usually that means I have to go do the trick again, but that's a great save. Okay. Awesome! Thanks, game. Yeah, so that jump right there is extremely precise for no reason. You don't have to do a crouch jump, but for a marathon setting, that's actually something I'm not going to bother with, low-key, because I don't want to do that time stop again. It's just, it's a walk of shame type of thing rather than a, oh, this jeopardizes the run sort of thing. But there's one more Reaver that you're supposed to grab in order to be able to unlock access to the final part of the game, which is the Fire Reaver, even though we literally just got that in the run we did. No shade whatsoever. Soul Reaver 2 developers from 2001. Anywho, so you're normally supposed to use that to melt some ice to be able to open a door, but we're going to be able to skip that completely. So like I kind of mentioned earlier, we're just kind of on a straight rush to the end of the game here. Why do I not know where I am right now? Oh, that was a little early with where I'm. There's a ledge there? Okay. There we go. Anywho. So we're going to be running for a bit here. We got a couple of more jumps through walls and some time stop. But yeah, like I said, the end of the run is vastly approaching, and there's some pretty more chaotic time stop setups that I got to do at the end here. So this is your last chance to make 2400 happen before the end of the Soul Reaver block, y'all. I want to see that happen so bad. And I also want to see some competition with the bid war as well. We can't let the weebs have this for free, okay? I won't allow it. Yeah, speaking of, Caitlin, any updates or any plugs?
We are just $25 away from $2,400. I know we can do it, chat. Who does not love to see a photo finish? Japanese is still ahead by $30. Are we gonna let the weebs have it, chat? Are we gonna let them have it? Are we gonna make it that easy?
Right. This time stop right here is really silly. It is literally just to avoid a snaking tunnel. That is it. But so time stop also has a property of like causing certain areas to unload if you're not careful. So I actually have to set up time stop in very specific spots in order to make sure that there's actually solid ground for me to stand on when I cancel the glitch. So the jumping movement is actually a little more precise in this game than it is in Soul Reaver 1, just because if you jump too early, you will just, like, get stuck. And if you, if you jump too early, then you'll, like, start hovering. I had to make sure I got that set up properly. There we go. Bypasses all those enemies right there. If you're, like, too early, you'll just start hovering, but if you're too late, you'll just kind of do a little shimmy of shame, as I like to call it. So even though it looks like I'm just jumping, I like actually have to concentrate a little bit and like time these. You can't mash it at all, otherwise you hover. And sometimes, like right there, you can just get stuck on random stuff. All right, so next I am looking for a specific spot to do my next time stop, and there's the visual cue I use is that there's going to be 3 Hadouken firing monk ladies, and I want the third one so I can set up the breakout glitch. And if I get to them quickly enough, hopefully they don't hit me too bad. Then we're gonna go about halfway down this wall. And then we're going to do this big running bit all the way through here. Our goal is to get to that save point. So typically in a casual playthrough, you'll get the Soul Reaver and then it will get like permanently altered so that like you can use the Soul Reaver whenever, but when you do, it like fills this like evil ominous meter thing. But it turns out if you never activate that flag, you just have the Soul Reaver without that restriction. And that's going to be very, very important for the boss coming up. So we went ahead and did that save and quit right there. I'm actually going to go for a little bit of a swag strat here. Wait, am I? No, I just set up time stop. There we go. We'll just do the time stop setup, I guess. I was like going to try a door jump there, which is really tricky because if I mess up the timing, I land in somewhere that's unloaded. But we'll just do it the normal way. Why not? And then I already got breakout glitch again. As soon as I get to this candelabra right here, I'm going to go ahead and time stop my way through this wall. This is going to put us 2 rooms ahead. There's a bunch of enemies over here that would normally try to handle me here. But I'm going to set myself up here so I can get the breakout glitch on those enemies through the wall. Then there's a cutscene here where you like the Soul Reaver is supposed to be there, but you get like tricked. I guess. It's been a minute. But if we do that right there, it's actually going to cause these 2 enemies that are actually, spoiler warning, some of the bosses we just fought in Soul Reaver 1, but in their human form before we turn them into vampires. But we'll get the breakout glitch off of one of our brothers, and then this is the last time stop of the run. I kid you not, we are already on our way to the final boss door, so time is coming up soon. I'm basically going to smack the boss in the head 20 times with the Soul Reaver, and that'll be time on final hit. So get ready on final time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, time. Alright, and GG's. I renounce you. And I'm going to skip the cutscene so I don't spoil any more of the game than I already have. Because this game is peak fiction. But yeah, no, we just beat Soul Reaver 2 in 16 minutes. Yeah, no, this game is just that fast. So, again, shoutouts to y'all for making that incentive happen so quickly. I am so grateful. Another really cool game, and all of the Legacy of Kain games have some pretty cool sauce behind them. So glad I got to show them off 2 of them for the price of 1. Again, shoutouts to the whole Soul Reaver and Legacy of Kain series speedrunning communities. I've been Jaxler. If you want to see more of what I have to do with speedrunning and some of the weird stuff I run, you can find me at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. Otherwise, Caitlin, thank you so much for hosting with me for the past 2 hours even. It's been a long journey, but we got there, and I'm glad you got to be there with me to experience it. Thank you so much. And I guess with that, Pseudo Regalia is up next. I also run that game too. You do not want to miss that one. Thank you for getting that incentive met as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned, why don't you? All right.
Thank you, Jaxler, for an incredible run. And once again, kudos on that amazing world record. And gang, that is going to be it for me. Like Jaxler said, this is the very first time I've ever hosted a marathon event, and I have had so much fun. Thank you all for being so welcoming and kind. You can find me at twitch.tv/C Roman numeral 8 LIN_21, where you can see me play cozy games, and also I speedrun Final Fantasy X. And that is going to be it for me. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. And thank you so much for Completithon 2025.
Completithon 2025. How you doing? My name's ProPokadum. I'm back here to take you through some of the last runs of the marathon. I know that might make you sad. This always happens. I end up where I have to be like near the end, and then I have to be uplifting about the end of it. And that kind of is not, you know, spectacular. But nonetheless, we're just setting up for our next run here. I want to remind you about a couple of different things that are going on right now that your donations can go towards with the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. We have Kingdom Hearts 2. It's got two things going for it. How thematic. We have a Defeat Sephiroth target where we will defeat Sephiroth. It will happen. And if you want a true 100% of Kingdom Hearts 2, $150 towards that target. Now remember, while you're also choosing which voiceover language you want between Japanese and English, which right now is extremely competitive with Japanese just being a little bit ahead of English, you have to click your target and your bid war. So the money goes in, you go boop, and then it has another tab and it goes polls, and you go bid war. I want Japanese or English voiceovers. And then you click that and you go see target, you click the target and it goes defeat Sephiroth. So if you want both of those, make sure you are putting your donation to maximum use. One dono hits both things. It's going to be a theme of twos for the next two runs that I'm also commenting. Oh, you know what? This is just a night. This is just a day of twos. Awesome.